Hello, welcome to Bored and Confused, where I review shows based on two criteria. One, was I bored? Two, was I confused? Today's show is Observant. Now, this is the first Off Off-Broadway show that I am reviewing for Bored and Confused. A friend of mine who's a producer gave me a ticket to this show and asked me to do a review on it, so here I am. First of all, what is Observant about? It's about primarily a family that has four women, the mother, the grandmother, and two daughters. And each of these women has a different relationship to their Jewish heritage and faith. The mother loves Christmas and loves to have a Christmas tree, loves to embrace that, and doesn't really think too much about her Jewishness. The grandmother has grown up in a time where hiding your Jewishness, it was something you just did to avoid rocking the boat, and she can pass as a non-Jewish person. The eldest daughter has embraced a modern Orthodox approach to Judaism, and she's really all about the rituals and her Jewish identity. And the youngest daughter is in school right now, and she's figuring out what her relationship is to her Jewish faith. And she's dating a young man named Farouk, who, although raised in the US, has Iranian parents and grew up Muslim. So we put these four women together in the same room, and of course, sparks fly. As I was watching this play, I kept hearing in the back of my brain the song from Falsetto's, William Finn's musical, "Four Jews in a room bitching." I felt that a lot through the play, except not bitching, they were bickering. During the course of this play, there's a tragic incident that occurs that forces these four women to really reevaluate what it means to be Jewish. There are two men in this play as well, Farouk, the boyfriend of the youngest daughter, and Josh, the husband of the eldest daughter, who is a modern Orthodox Jew. The funny thing is, the one character that gets away unscathed in the show is Farouk. He's the one that I feel like I was on the side with, because he's put in this room with these five people who are just bickering and arguing, and he's being so nice and so accommodating. This production is Off Off-Broadway in a small black box theater. So the production values are very modest. And I think when you go to see a show Off Off-Broadway, you understand that's what you're getting, and you don't worry about, oh wait, that wall is a curtain. Why is it not a wall? We're inferring the space of this woman's well-appointed home in Scarsdale, even though the furniture and the Christmas tree may not quite be accurate to what the reality of that situation would be. So, Bored and Confused. There's this idea that's set up in the play that I was a little confused by. At the beginning of the play, when the Orthodox couple comes in, they are talking about a book. And the wife, the eldest daughter, is like, don't bring up the book. Now's not the time. We'll bring up the book later. And so we're wondering as an audience, what is the book? What is the book? And the mother is a publisher. So we think it must relate to that somehow. And as they kept talking about, oh, don't bring the book up, don't bring the book, I thought this book was going to be a bombshell. I thought he'd written a book about how great Netanyahu is, and that this book was going to just upset everyone. And then when it finally comes out, he wrote a book about going to a Jewish summer camp. And I thought, sure, I don't know why you were so afraid to pitch this book idea to your mother-in-law who's in publishing, because she understands that your Jewish identity is very strong to you. What kind of book would she expect you to write? Something that would be about being Jewish. So it was set up to be like this bombshell, but then when he finally brings the book up, the mother's like, yeah, sure, I'll read it. And I was like, I thought that was gonna be a huge plot point, and then it was a nothing burger. Now, was I bored? The characters in this play are really defined by their relationship to their religion and their ethnic heritage. And they come into the play being very strong in who they are. And they really do not budge. There is a little bit of change that happens towards the end of the play, but for the majority of the play, everyone has dug in their heels and they're just arguing, and no one is really in a place of flux. And for me, this was a little problematic, because what happens if no one's willing to change, then we're just listening to people argue for 90 minutes. Now, there was some nice moments of relief where these incidents happen that take them away from their bickering for a moment, but then they always come back to it. But that was a relief in the play. When these big incidents would happen, it was nice, because all of a sudden it added a different dynamic to the play. And as an audience, we could say, oh, something new that's going to hopefully change these people. And ultimately, by the end of the play, there is some change that happens to these characters. Not to give anything away, but they do embrace their identities more than they did at the beginning of the play. There is one line that I was really struck by. At some point, after this tragedy has occurred, and they're realizing the anti-Semitism that is prevalent not only in the world, but specifically in their community that they probably thought was pretty insulated. And the mother says, "I've never felt more Jewish than I do right now." And I was really struck by that line because in that moment, the Jewish people are being persecuted. They're suffering. And for me, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My family grew up Protestant, but then they converted to Mormonism when I was about 9 years old. So I grew up Mormon. When I discovered that the religion that my family had chosen was not bringing me the joy in my life that it was bringing them, I chose to walk away. Because to me, religion is a choice. Now, I understand that with Judaism, it's not only a religion, it's also a cultural identity. And you can't just walk away from a cultural identity. But my question is, if what makes you feel Jewish is suffering, you might want to reevaluate that. And you may want to say, I don't want to be part of a religion that makes me feel terrible. My 2 cents. Now, of course, you have to also navigate what it means to you to be ethnically Jewish and what your responsibilities are there to other Jewish people and to yourself. And for me, that is the most interesting part of the play, is just these ideas that it brought up for me. And that I went to this play by myself, but I was kind of wishing I'd gone with someone because I really wanted to talk with someone about these ideas about identity politics and religion and the part and the role that it plays in our lives. So if this is a subject matter that you find interesting, then run out and see Observant. Be quick about it because I believe it closes at the end of the week. I'm gonna hopefully get this thing up today. So go check this out.
Don't bore me, don't confuse me. If you do, then you'll lose me. Don't wanna drift away. What's inside the play? Keep me engaged, keep me amused with what's in front of me, 'cause I don't wanna be bored and confused.